Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. I'm Dr. Kelly Tanner. Today, I have with me Melia Lewis. Melia, thank you for
Hi.
attending the Dental Handoff. I'm
Yay.
so
Oh my
excited to have
gosh, this
you.
is like a crazy full circle moment. Anyway, I'm so excited.
It really is. Dentistry is like that, and I think life is like that because we kind of come back around to originally some of the first folks. It's kind of like your first wedding dress when you like find the wedding dress and you go back and you're like, that's the one that I always wanted. This is the first one that you saw.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we always start with the question, why hygiene for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just in my DNA. Like, I feel like a
Mm.
lot of hygienists, like their parents or they had a grandparent or something, someone in dentistry that really exposed them to the world of dentistry. And I was lucky enough to have a dad who loved being a dentist, which is sometimes a rare form for someone to just love their career so much. So he absolutely loved dentistry. I feel like he was ahead of his time a little bit. He did a lot of research and like helping and looking in different ways. I'm from a pretty small town in Alberta, Canada, and so he like was really like into studying and learning and growing and helping patients in a different way that maybe weren't exposed to that in the small town. So he loved dentistry. He really encouraged us kids to look into dentistry and just saw the value of how dental can help the whole body, not just a tooth. A tooth is attached to a person and a person's all connected. So that was a really big inspiration. At first, I was like, for real? Like, I grew up in a dental practice. I feel like some of my earliest memories are like me running around the practice, like playing with the buttons in the chair. I'm sure the staff hated us when we came over, but those are some of my earliest memories. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to be doing this again. And then I took my toddler the other day to my office and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is weird. She's going to have these memories too. So
Playing it back.
anyway, it's definitely fun. So it's been so great to have that as a mentor to kind of get me into the dental space and introductions to it and just really show a love and passion for dentistry. I'm not going to lie, a lot of my siblings are in dentistry too, which is very fun. Also very nerdy of us when we all get together, but it's great to have that resource. And then again, that just kind of motivation with my dad. So he really loved the full body health and it really introduced me to that. And because I love medicine, I love the body, and I just think it's so fascinating how we work and run, and a body is a miracle. And it's just so interesting. So ever since then, I went to hygiene school, and I seriously remember my last semester of hygiene school working on my very, very difficult patient, especially as a soon to be grad. It's kind of overwhelming. You're seeing these really
Yeah.
type 4, class 4, however you guys do it,
Yeah.
patient. And I'm like, is this what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life? I'm like, this is no way. But after graduating and working in different practices and again, really like applying full body things to our patients and really seeing the amazing things that come out of dentistry and the relationships you can make, really just kind of like put a bow on my love for dentistry. So I've been a hygienist for 16 years now, but again, I feel like I've been in dentistry my whole life, and it's only up from here. There's so much great research. There's so many cool things coming out. There's so many ways we can like grow and expand as a dental hygienist. So I'm pretty excited. It is kind of an odd time in dentistry right now, but I'm excited for the pathways that could happen.
Yeah. There's only up. There's
Yeah.
only up. We can only ascend, I think. And our profession as it stands right now is an amazing healing profession. Do you remember when you were a little girl, the first time that you thought, I want to be in dentistry or I want to do something in dentistry? Do you remember that?
I don't I always wanted to be a doctor, like a
Okay.
medical doctor my whole life. I remember writing like essays on it and stuff. And again, because I just always have loved science and like that science part of it. But I don't know. I feel like being from a small town, we weren't really encouraged to be doctors, especially as like a girl. So that was when it kind of was like, well, maybe hygiene, maybe dentistry could be like a great avenue, still in the medical field, but not like as intense and not as much schooling. Do I wish I was a doctor? Yeah, sometimes I wish I do. But again, hygiene's been so good to me. I can't complain. And it's been such a fun and fulfilling career. So it makes me happy. But yeah, I don't remember like a specific day where I was like, this is it as a child, but just kind of growing up and seeing the aspects of dentistry and owning your own practice and doing those things definitely inspired me to keep going into this field. And then again, once you're in school, you're like, this is it, this is happening. And then once you graduate, you really see all the dots connect, which is kind of fun. So I've worked in lots of different practices. I've worked in Canada, I've worked in America. I'm in America right now, obviously. And just seeing the difference, but how people are the same everywhere is kind of interesting and fun. And such a big part of what we do every single day. It's kind of fascinating how hygienists, we develop such a relationship with our patients. We're with them for an hour plus, and every 6 months, every 3 months. And not a lot of healthcare providers get that. So
Right.
it's fun. We get to see a human side of our patients and really understand what makes them tick. And then we can do a little deep dive on them and figure out why they are not healing, right? Like why this is happening, why that's happening. And a lot of times, again, our patients are humans. They're so multifaceted. It's not just they don't floss, right? It's their overall health. It's their stress. It's their social. It's everything can be involved in their health. So I think that is such a unique part of hygiene that we are lucky to be a part of.
Yeah. We there's such an opportunity for us to notice something with our patient and be the one who brings it up
Yeah.
too, because I know that they're the doctor's patients. I get that, you're right? They belong to the practice. I mean, I know that you're on
Yeah.
the West Coast,
Legally.
but
Yeah.
in the rest of the world, in the rest of the United States, where the doctor, it's their patients. But we're just so connected to them. We feel that connection. We know when something's wrong, when something's off, because we can see the subtle differences. And so we're in that position to truly say, hey, I know that you shared with me this. Have you ever thought about this and what you could do there to, help this in this direction? We are truly there as the change navigators
Yeah.
to help them with that.
Yeah. And really just kind of connect like, oh, I didn't realize like my sleep could affect my healing or my diabetes
Mm.
affects my mouth or whatever, just like really drawing lines between different providers is kind of fun instead of just singling out each, medical condition or each whatever. We can really put everything together and be like, no, this is all related. You're
Yeah.
one being. So I think it's been great. It's been really fun to keep learning and growing as a hygienist and learn all the not I don't know at all, but to keep learning and learning new technology and new techniques and things like that. I think that's really helped me personally with burnout and
Yeah.
preventing burnout in hygiene, because I think if I work 5 days a week, I don't clinically work 5 days a week, I work 3, and your burnout would be really, really high. So I think just diversifying and really like trying new things and learning new things has really helped me personally preventing that burnout and that sting of hygiene that typically comes in, I don't know, 5 years,
Amen,
10
sister.
years, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, because you feel like you're just doing the same thing, even though you're really looking forward to the patients.
Mhm.
That's what I feel like that we're looking forward to. It's not of what we're doing; it's how we're interacting, the lives that we're changing. So, with your how you diversified yourself, looking back to where you started to, is this what I get to do with the
Mhm.
rest of my life? To now, you are an entrepreneur. You're doing a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Include you're teaching, you're part of Hygiene Edge, you have your, own company, you're part owner in a company. How did you get there, Malia? Like, what came first for you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just putting yourself out there. That's huge. From day one, as a new grad, I was like, let's keep learning, let's keep doing other things, which is tricky as a new grad, especially if you have a family and it's a lot. There's a lot going on, but um ever since graduating, I was like, I got to keep learning and growing and trying new things. So I've always just been like a member of my professional association and networking that way. Even like my local community study clubs, just really connecting with people that way and being a resource for people, I think is helpful. I really believe in like you get what you give. And so sometimes local communities be like, hey, we really need someone to come present or whatever. Like, yeah, I would love to. And you really get to meet so many new people as you go out into these different events. It's a little trickier now because a lot's online, but you can still kind of network and connect online a different way, which is kind of fun. And then I think just looking for people that are kind of doing similar things that you're interested in and just reaching out and be like, I'm super interested in this. what do you feel like? Do you feel like it's worth it? Do you feel like not? And kind of learn from people's example. Listening to podcasts like this, I think, is super great to hear people's perspective and figure out what's going to work for you and what's for not. And then just like taking a step forward. If you're like, this seems interesting to me, I really would love to start a business, or I'd really love to get into education. Just taking one step forward in that direction and kind of pushing the ball in that is really, really helpful. It's scary at first, but I am a sole believer that dental hygienists are such an amazing group of professionals, right?
Mhm.
We're well educated. We know so much. We have great interpersonal skills because we work with people every hour on the hour, sometimes in the most stressful place for them. They don't feel comfortable. They feel very vulnerable.
Mhm.
And it was funny. I was a patient, like, the other a while ago, and you lean back there, and I was like, this is a good reminder for me. It's kind of vulnerable leaning back here.
Yeah.
It's great. So anyway, we work with people that may feel very vulnerable, very nervous. We have great personal skills when it comes to that. Um, we can manage time really, really well. We can work on a schedule. So we have so many great skills other than scaling or taking radiographs that we can apply to so many other aspects
Mhm.
of the world. And I think sometimes as hygienists, we forget that, right? I even think that sometimes I'm like, what am I gonna I can't do it. I can scale. I can like brush teeth. Like what else can I do? But when we break down our day, we have so many amazing skills that we can apply to starting a business or reaching out into education or getting into advocacy or whatever you want, whatever you're interested in. You have those baselines just from working clinically. So I don't want hygienists to shortchange themselves. We have so much to offer in the world. Again, it's kind of a stressful, crazy world right now, but we can help really support our communities and ourselves
Yeah.
in different avenues other than working in a clinic.
Yeah. So you're working in clinical practice. You're also teaching
Yeah.
in a program online that you were telling me about. Tell the audience about what you're teaching and the type of program that you're teaching in, because I find it fascinating.
Yeah. So I actually live in Utah. I don't even remember if we mentioned that, but I grew up in Alberta, Canada, and I live in Utah now, practice here. But in Colorado, my neighborhood state, if you have a bachelor's degree, you can do a lot of really cool things like own your own practice, have prescribing rights, things with hygiene, obviously hygiene specific things. But you can teach, you can do a couple more things when you have your bachelor's degree. It makes sense when you have more education. So at CNCC, Colorado Northwestern Community College, which is pretty close to Utah, actually, they have an associate's degree of dental hygiene, but they decided to start a bachelor's degree to really support their students as they graduate and move on and are looking into other things and to grow. So it's all online. It's a bachelor completion because we know hygiene school is pretty intense.
Mhm.
You have to take a lot of credits to get in a lot of times. So to get your bachelor's degree, a lot of times, depending on what you did before, you don't have too many more credits to do, which is kind of great.
Right.
So this just finishes off like the handful of credits that dental hygienists already just need compared to like their associate's degree. And it's been so fun because all the students are clinical working hygienists. They went through a program, they have their associates. And so it's fun to interact in a different way. We do it all online because, again, they're working hygienists. They have busy 8 to 5 jobs, maybe 8 to 6. Some clinics are 12-hour shifts now. So it's nice to be able to have a program that kind of fits with your schedule and you can able to pull like when's going to work for you, when's not going to work for you. So it's been great. Again, it's been really popular. Again, a lot of my students work in small towns in rural Colorado, and they're really excited to like grow and outreach in dental in their communities or their small area that maybe doesn't have the same access to care as some cities. And it's been so fun to see them grow and change and really be excited to help their communities. It's all coming from love. They just see the need and they want to help.
So
So,
they're able to own their own practices?
yeah.
Awesome.
Mhm. Dental
How
hygiene practices.
do you know, because I don't know, it's a question that I was thinking about asking my, Facebook group. How what does a hygienist make who owns their own practice? Is it the same? Or I'm just curious, is the
That is a
juice
great
worth the
question.
squeeze, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
that is a
financially,
great
of course it
question.
is from a servant
Yeah.
service.
I honestly don't know the numbers. I should know that, but I don't know that. I think it depends like what services you offer, where the area you work. Um, a lot of the students in the roles, they want to go to like do outreach and nursing homes and like schools and things like that. So that's kind of a different ball game. But if you own like a traditional brick and mortar, that is a great question. I have some friends like in Maine that have some. I can get you in contact. You should have them on here. Actually, they're amazing.
I would love that because,
Yeah.
okay, so because if you break it down into, let's just say, for sake of argument, we're just going to choose a round number.
Mhm.
Let's just say that a hygienist makes 50 an hour. Okay. Once the hygienist pays all their overhead, who owns their own practice, what are they taking home per hour? I'm just
Yeah,
curious,
I don't
is it
know.
what they thought? Because I think there could be, I don't know, I literally don't know, but there could be a misconception of, oh, I get to own my own practice. And so there's more financial reward for me, which is true, but there's also a huge risk, but not taking a risk is also a risk,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so I just wonder if they thought it was, if they
Good
thought,
point.
if it ended up being what they thought it was going to be in
Yeah.
terms of salary and bring home.
Yeah. No, I'll email you the
Cool. I
benefits.
want to know. Inquiring
Yeah.
minds over here.
Yeah.
So that's it's awesome because sometimes what we think that we know about something and where we think we want to go isn't what we expect, which is part of the learning process. But and to go and to be a part of that, Malia, to educate the future of where our profession is heading. You guys on the West Coast have been in that longer than we have on the East Coast. I think I love that you're a part of that. And it's another way that you're serving in your area of expertise because now here you're clinical, you're an instructor, and then also tell us about the business and then also Hygiene Edge as well, how you guys
Yeah.
got started with that or how you became a part of it.
Yeah. So Hygiene Edge was definitely a passion project. We started it with me, Jessica, and Shelly all taught together at the same hygiene school at like a traditional school here in Utah. And we were just kind of tired of this is like purely selfish. We just would explain the same thing over and over, or when you read a textbook and you try to take it home and study it, it's so awkward and it's like it doesn't compute. Sometimes we need to see it, we need to hear it in a different way. If you've ever taught or if you've ever been taught, which you all went to hygiene school, so I'm sure you have, but sometimes like one person will say something and then someone else will say it almost exactly the same, but slightly different, and it
Yeah.
just clicks.
Yep.
We kind of wanted that. We're like, we need a different avenue so our students that we're currently teaching can feel supported. So we just started teaching how we taught instruments and things online. We just started filming ourselves and sending them to the students and be like, hey, watch this video. Now you can like apply instrumentation when you practice at home. Because the tricky thing with any kind of like muscle memory or small movement is if you learn it wrong, you have to break that habit to
Yeah.
relearn it, which is
You're
tricky.
practicing it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you've played piano, if you've written with a pencil, you know what I mean? To switch your technique, it's tricky once you have that set. So we're like, we don't want to have to break habits. So we started filming ourselves, sending them to our students, putting them online just so they have a resource. And it kind of just blew up. We had people from all over the world asking for different videos, asking questions, like wanting support with their dental journey, both hygiene and assisting and dental schools. And it's been so fun. We had no idea it would just kind of be so popular. And I'm really proud of it. I think it does serve such a great need because again, sometimes hygiene or dentistry, we're kind of a creature of habit and we kind of do the same things over and over. So it's nice to have a resource outside of our traditional learning to like learn something new really quick and easy and apply it to your next patient. That's like our thing. We want it to be super short and easy. So when you have a 10-minute break in theory during your hygiene day, you could take it to your next appointment and be like, I'm going to try this and see how it works and see if it applies and things like that. So we really pride ourselves on having easy to understand ways to try things. It's also really nice to like, I remember, I just know like temping when I've been temping at stages in my life and I'd go into an office, they're like, we take an x-ray like this. And I'm like, why didn't anyone tell me this like 10 years ago? It's so
Yeah.
easy. So
Yeah.
hopefully just to kind of like spread the love of helpful tips and tricks just to make our hygiene days or dental days a little bit easier is the goal. So it's definitely grown. I mean, obviously videos are our bread and butter. We still love making lots of helpful videos and breaking down difficult topics. But we do a lot of speaking. We do a lot of like go to events and things like that, just to connect with people. It's just so fun because again, dentistry is like the best group of people. So it's so fun to connect with them online. And yeah, it's been fun. We've been able to work with so many great hygienists and dentists, but we've also been able to work with so many great brands who have really great products that we use every single day in our practices and kind of teach different ways how to use them and give our expertise, be like, oh, this is great, or I do this a little different way. Have you looked at this? And really give feedback with that. So hopefully it's helped to shape dentistry a little bit and just really keep supporting the profession and supporting that clinical hygienist that has to work in the back room alone every day. It's nice to have a friend that you can talk about cases with or talk about like
Yeah.
weird things that happen. We get emails daily about like, what would you do with this patient? Or I have this spot that I couldn't remove. What should I do? And be able to like have a conversation about it. It's definitely so fun. There is a business aspect to it, right? So that's been great for me personally to like use a different side of my brain and figure out like what's going to work, what's not, making contracts, working through negotiations, working through timelines and like a balance between education and companies wanting certain things. That's been really fun and interesting. And there's definitely a need for a lot of online education. So if anyone's interested, and I mean, you can definitely reach out to me and we can chat more. It's a great space to learn. And I
Mhm.
think for a while it was definitely underutilized in dentistry. Now it's grown a lot, but it's been a fun way to connect with people from all over the world. It makes the world small.
It really does. So what's funny is that when I was teaching at Virginia Peninsula Community College, I was the program director. I was in every clinic. We had like one other faculty, and because we had just had some turnover, and I'm sure many of
That's
you all
awesome.
who are hygiene faculty know what I'm talking about. And what's funny is that I would teach the way I'm teaching it. And then they're like, well, I was watching a video and they were teaching it like this. I'm like, is it Hygiene Edge? They're like, uh-huh. And I was like, play it back for me. And I said, that's exactly what I was saying. I didn't say it like that, but I'm like, that's exactly what I said. And they're like, oh, okay, I get it. Because they would, so like your right and left inserts, your ultrasonic inserts. I'm like, if it looks right, it's wrong, that kind of thing. And D to the D. And I'm going, this is exactly what I said. So to your point, when you hear it differently, it just kind of clicks. And then also too, sometimes I would look at the videos and going, I know that I'm saying this right. And I'm like, yeah, they're saying the same thing. So it was a good like, yeah, I got you, Kelly, in the back with you
Validator.
guys teaching
Yeah.
it. So I could make sure that all the way in Virginia that I knew, I'm like, yeah, this is still the same. Am I losing my mind? Because I was there solo. And then also like I would see them looking up the videos right before a competency, like a skill competency. I'm like, are you ready yet? Are you good? They're like, yeah. I'm just brushing up. I'm like, put it away.
No, that has happened before. Students have emailed. They're like, I did exactly what you said and I failed. And I'm like, I am so sorry. Like every school teaches things a little different. So I'm like, you really have to like go with what your teacher says. But it is kind of interesting how sometimes we take things in or we're in like a different environment and we hear something different and we just like, it just clicks. Every learner is a little bit different. So I'm happy people are utilizing them and learning from them. And I'm sorry if a student watches it and you don't love it. I apologize.
No, but you're exactly right. Every school has its nuances. And so it's good too, because sometimes they would say, did you know that we could do this? And I'm like, yes, but you're a first year student. That's more advanced instrumentation. We'll get there too,
Yeah.
because there's a
It's tricky.
process that
Yeah.
you,
Oh, yeah. Things have to build like math. You got to learn to add
yeah.
before you do all the things. So,
Yeah. So, I mean, it's wildly helpful to all of us. And I think also what probably that you haven't touched on that you probably know, but in my mind, it helps to standardize what we're all doing. It helps
yeah.
to say, okay, this is where we all should be with this
Yeah.
instrument.
Yeah. It's kind of fascinating how, I mean, it's such a big country and there's so many different ways of doing things. And there's lots of like history at schools and things like that. So it's kind of interesting. Well, as we've been connecting with schools all over, just hearing like what they're teaching and how they're teaching it. I'm like, oh, I've never thought about it this way. Like, this
Yeah.
is great. Everyone should know this. Or like, maybe we should teach this a little differently. Yeah. It's just a great way to connect and figure out what other people are doing and see what works for you and see what doesn't. And Yeah, it's again, the internet makes the world small, and we can communicate better. So it's great.
Yeah. So a hygienist who's there, they're in private practice and they're like, hmm, I don't know. Is this what I still want to do? Is this all there is? What would you say to them?
Yeah, I say it yes and no. I mean, there's what else what really, like, makes you inspired? Is there something that you love or you are interested in or feel comfortable, you wanna reach out in a different way? I think just doing a little bit of self-exploring and see what makes them happy would be really, really great. If they are financially okay with working less one day, I think makes a big difference mentally instead of like a full 5-day week hygiene. It's really hard on your brain and your body, things like that. And then I think just connecting with other people that are doing things that you're interested in, or, just exploring other options that people are doing. It doesn't, I think sometimes with hygiene, we think, I don't want to be a hygienist anymore. The only other option is to be a teacher, which for my experience is if you are so burnt out of hygiene, teaching is probably not a great option for you because you are still doing hygiene a lot of times, but especially if you're working like in the clinic, but now you're dealing with student emotions and patient emotions, not just patient emotions. So if you're so over patient treatment, so over hygiene, I mean, there's other options than teaching. So one thing we started here in Utah with my friend Christine, we started a sharpening company, which has been so great. Again, I really like to start things that support hygienists because we're so busy and we don't ever have
Yeah.
time for anything. That's been such a fun side project of really connecting with offices locally and all over the country and understanding instruments a little bit better. If you stare at an instrument to sharpen it for hours, you really understand the contours and the shapes of it, which is kind of interesting. But it's been fun to like still have this in this dental space, in the instrumentation space, but something different that's supporting. So that's an option that if you could look at, there's such a need for sharpening. So if you want a sharpening business, you can totally reach out to me. But I think the biggest thing is just start networking either on LinkedIn and also like locally connecting with people around you because you never know where that's going to lead. A lot of times it's like who you know and who you've talked to and what conversation is going to inspire something. That is the biggest part, which again, I know with hygiene, it's exhausting to network after talking to people all day, but really making a point and schedule, even putting it on your schedule, that seems like so monotonous, but putting it on your schedule, I'm going to do this, go to this meeting, or I'm going to post on LinkedIn this many times a week, things like that can really help kind of grow and expand what your next steps would be.
Yeah, it's LinkedIn keeps coming up. It's it's you guys, it's connecting with other people, no matter how you do it. When you're connecting in private practice, it's kind of want to rewind to a point that you said too about being burnout, and so you think that it's going into education. Yes, I think there's clinical skills that definitely, if you're in clinic, you're doing those same things, but it's not the repetitive motion as much as it is if you're in private practice. You're not on a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
So like you feel some days because you feel like you're 10 minutes behind all day, or you are 20 minutes behind all day, and you just feel like you could never get caught up, which is stressful because it
Yeah.
creates stress for the entire office. So you get out of some of that, but there's, to your point, there's other emotions and things to manage, like of the patients, of the faculty, of all the other different things. And
Yeah.
so, I know, Malia, you're a great mentor, and the ladies who are in Hygiene Edge are great mentors too. So if you have questions, please reach out to Malia. I think it's awesome that you're so diversified. I think
Yeah.
that is key because you're saying, okay, I like this. This serves a mission. This serves my mission. This is part of my core values, is what it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I think it really helps with burnout is just diversifying.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes too, even diversifying outside of dentistry, like if you feel comfortable with that, or if you I mean, my whole life is dentistry right now, and sometimes I talk to my husband, I'm like, "What can I do outside of dentistry to kinda, like, prevent a dentistry burnout?" So that's kind of my next thing is, like, I love what I'm doing right now, and I still love it, but I'm like, "Maybe I should start looking outside of dentistry at one point." But I think just kind of keeping things diverse, really looking and learning different ways. There's lots of, like, free courses online, outside of dentistry too, just to, like, keep your brain moving. I think important. Again, because hygienists are so smart. We have so much knowledge. Sometimes just like keeping that learning growing can really help us feel a little more fulfilled.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking time today to share your story. You guys, if you want to reach out to Melia, her information is in the show notes. I know that your time is valuable, so thank you for everything. And I'm really curious to hear about too, like the hygienists and what they're doing and how they even start. How they even start a business. So if you have a recommendation, I'd love to have somebody back on the show
Yeah,
with that.
for sure. Yeah. That'd be
Cool.
great. I want to listen to that too.
Yeah, right. All of us. Well, thank you, Melia, for being on.
No, it was so great. And yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so impressed by you. So I'm happy to be here. It's definitely full circle moment. I've read all your articles, so this is
Oh.
me geeking out.
Oh, I'm geeking out. I'm fangirling all over you. So here we are. We're both worthy, right?
Yeah.
So for all of my listeners, thank you so much for listening in again today. And you know that I always ask a favor to go onto Apple Podcasts and give Apple a 5-star rating because Apple's the one that matters. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, please go ahead and press the subscribe button so you're notified when a new episode drops, and go ahead and share this episode for those you love. And thank you so much for everything that you do to touch the lives of others every day. All right, my friends, we'll see you again next week. Thanks, Melia.
Thanks.